Welcome back to Insights with PT. This is Anu.
And it's your girl, Tammy.
The next series, we'll be doing a Q&A with Pastor T, asking more about his life story and how we can apply it to our lives. So make sure to send in your questions to the address on the screen. The past series, we've been reflecting on his life story.
We dove deep into who PT is, how he became to be, and the challenges he faced. We laughed, we smiled, we even felt sad for the hardships. But one common theme prevailed, and that is that PT was and is the man who God helped.
A man God helped. A man God helped. I can't take God away from my story. I can never and I will never take or gloat in any achievement outside of God. I'm telling you the truth. We could never have been here if not for God helping. And that's it. And that's it. I've seen things happen in my life that I look back and say, this could only be God now. This could only be God. A man God helped. Do you understand? And I want people to know that if you allow God to help you, you yourself will be shocked. I mean, you will be shocked how far it will take you.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Anu, what were some of your favorite stories?
I definitely love the part where he talked about the ICANN exam. He took it 3 times, got it on the 4th try.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that he got it on the 4th try.
No, literally.
So basically learned don't let failure be something that you get used to, that you don't have any expectations for yourself. And then when he went back to look at the
exactly
to see where his name was,
yeah,
and he was like, "Give me space,
give me space, move. He's like, I need to know where my name is.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely hilarious.
The ICANN exam, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, so that's the full meaning. Is one of the most toughest exams that I have found myself doing. And many people who also I look up to as very brilliant, they also accepted that this exam is something else. Number one, we were made to believe that there is a particular percentage that they must pass in each year. So the question was not whether you passed the exam. The question was whether you made the quota of how many. So no matter how many people do the exams, I think they pass about 7%. Wow. And the goal is to moderate the number of qualified accountants or CPA that they put into society. They understand? So now your challenge is how to get into that 6%. Not so much of passing the exam itself. Of course, you have to pass, but then you must be amongst the best 7% in the whole country. Wow. It was a tough one. It was a tough one. I've never operated academically at that level. So it was a tough one. But I enjoyed it. Most of the classes finish about 9 o'clock, and then it's at 9 that we start going home. So your day starts maybe at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and then your day doesn't end till about maybe 12 midnight, because when I get home at 10 p.m., maybe that's when you're looking for something to eat, before you now sleep, and then the whole thing starts again. Weekends were not exempt, even though we don't work weekends, but then we go to class almost all day, weekend. And you have to keep on studying. You understand? The exams were being done like twice a year. I think one in April and one in November, something like that. Then I don't know what it is now. So I did that exam 3 times. It so much consumed me, but it made me to learn a lot about myself. And I'll tell you why. I don't give up on anything in life. I don't. Because my mom always says something that, even though in another context, and that context is that, what does not have a mouth or what cannot talk should not be wiser than you. Like this cup cannot talk. So my mom says, this cup cannot be wiser than you. I mean, you must really be, I don't know how to use the word, for this cup to be wiser than you. That's number one. And then people say things like, what doesn't kill you really makes you stronger. So for me, it's how to move forward. So I kept on doing the exams. And finally, and this made me to believe one thing, that if you study well enough, you will pass any exam. Honestly, people might not believe me, but I'm also talking as someone who has failed before. If you really study well, at times we fail in exams and we think, oh, maybe the lecturer or maybe the this and that. I say, you didn't put in enough. If you put in enough, you will pass. And I knew this was studying for ICANN, because by the time I was doing the retake, I had 2 subjects that I was retaking. One was taxation, and the other one was financial management. Financial management had always been my best exam subject. But one way or the other, I don't know, I failed it. So I had a reference, so I had to repeat it. So I kept on studying. So because I was studying for 2 papers, before it was 5. Now that I'm studying for 2, I put everything in. And I remember I shifted my exam center from Lagos to Ibadan. If you ask me why, I really don't know, but I think I just wanted to get away from everybody. Do you understand? At the point, my dad told me that this exam was overtaking your life, that I think you should just chill and not do the exam. And that was the session that I passed. Yeah, eventually qualified. So he said I should chill and all that. So I said, maybe I can chill, but I want to ask him one question. If he can answer the question, then I won't do the exam for that session. Maybe I'll postpone it. And he said, what's the question? I said, have you ever seen anyone who studied and died because they were studying? He said he doesn't have that experience. I said, so why should studying kill me? If it has not killed me, then it means that it's what I'm meant to do. So he left me. So I went to Ibadan. In the first subject was financial management. And I looked at it. Maybe they gave us 7. Usually, when you do this exam, they tell you to attempt all questions. So you can't get 5 right and leave 2. If you don't attempt the last 2, they penalize you from the ones that you got correct. Like they say, okay, for not attempting one, it's -5. So you have to be seen to have attempted it. You don't have to know everything and get the answer. The instruction is attempt all. Okay. So I looked at it. Out of 7, questions, I had practiced on 5. So, boom, boom, boom. And we're given 3 hours. Boom, 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 I had finished. And the last 2, maybe in like 1 hour, 20 minutes, I finished the whole exam. And I waited again for like 15 minutes looking at it. Did I make mistake or not? Da, 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 da. So I said to the vigilator that I'm done. And I got up. There was a guy next to me. He started consoling me. Because what he thought, the reason he thought the fact that I was getting up was because I didn't know any of the questions that I had failed. So he said, don't worry, you can try next year now. And I looked at him and I didn't say anything because I knew there is no way I'm coming back next year. I know I passed this one. So I just laughed and I said, but I didn't say anything to him because I knew he meant well. Do you understand? But yeah, he was saying something wrong. So I said, okay. So now, when the results came out, they usually put it in the daily papers. So, or you go to the headquarters of the institute and they paste it on the wall. And usually there are a lot of people trying to, based on your height, trying to look at the wall to get your number because they don't put their names. They don't put names there. I think they put names and then they put numbers. Okay. So you look for your number, then next to it will be your name. That means that you passed. If you had reference, it will be under it for reference. So I looked at the thing. I didn't see my name. That's another lesson for me. Don't get used to failure. When you get used to failure, you will never have any expectation. I'm telling you, it's not the demons from the village. Don't get used to failure. Because I was already used to failing. I told you I did that exam 3 times. I did not take time to look for my number and my name. So I said, I failed again. It was very depressing. But something has happened, which is about mindset. As soon as I left that office, I went back to the school to register for the next session exam. That means I was ready to do it a 4th time. So the registrar saw me and said, "Oh, Odutola, how are you doing?" I laughed. He said, "Oh, why are you here?" I said, "I'm here to register for the exam." He said, "What exam?" I said, "The account exam." He said, "Have you not checked your result?" I said, "I've checked." He said, "What happened?" I said, "I failed." He said, "You passed?" I said, "I passed?" At that time, I couldn't stand up again. He said, "Sit down, sit down, sit down." So I sat down. Then he brought the national papers of the day, 2 of them. One was the Guardian and the other one, I can't remember what paper now. He said, "Look at it now, you had marked mine." He said, "It's your name now." I said, "I passed?" Hey, Lord have mercy. So.
What point were you trying to prove to yourself in all those times that you just kept going back to, try the exam again? What point were you trying to prove to yourself?
It's going to end well. I'm not going to be defeated by this exam. It's going to end well. It doesn't matter how many times you say no to me, unless I don't want to do that thing. If I want to do it, you will be tired yourself of saying no after a while, because I'm not going to back off. I don't back off. I don't back off. When you get to the story of this church, you will know what I'm talking about. I don't back off. You go for it. I've always believed, and I don't want to speak Christianese, even though my mom says it, that people don't have 2 words. So I don't see why you should succeed and I will not succeed. It's not going to happen. What are you doing extra? I will do what you are doing and do more. And that's it. Do you understand? Now, how much more we have the Holy Spirit inside? No. There's no room for failure or backing off. Anyway, so I told the guy, I said, "Thank you, I left. Guess where I went back to? I went back to the head office, headquarters of the institute. But that time, I had seen my number. I knew exactly where my name and number would be. So I was shouting from the gate. I said, "Please, please. There are too many people by this post. Please, can you just give me space?" So I had to say, "It's going to fail." Look at him there. They didn't know I already knew I passed. I was just wanted to do some drama, So everybody, I'm praying that people will give you space in life. I'm telling you, it's a good prayer. Do you understand? Because you can be choked up at times and you are not able to be more creative, So I pray that people will give you, space.